The second half, you hung in there in the first half, but you didn't have a lot of ball, and you gave away a lot of penalties, but you were pretty happy with the second half.
Yeah, I mean, Craig, I'm proud of the guys, I was just saying to them there, when you've been in a team and it's got a good smell or it's got a bad smell, and our team's got a good smell, it's just a good group of people. But it's hell of a frustrating because there's two areas of our game that really let us down. I mean, one is our discipline, which has been a perpetual problem right through the whole season. And it's not skill errors discipline-wise, it's just lazy stuff, like not getting back on side and those sort of things. And I think we gave away 7 or 8 penalties in the first half, and I mean, statistically, you give away more than 10 penalties in a Super Rugby game, you're going to battle to win that game, We do that in the first half, And then the second one was just our set piece, we won 50% of our scrum and I think about 60 or 66% of our line out. So, if you don't do those two things, you're not going to win at Super Rugby. And I thought there were a lot of stuff that we did well in the game. When we got the ball in hand, we caused them some problems defensively, and we were finding some holes and that sort of stuff. But unfortunately, we just those two things just made it very hard.
Dave, could you guys figure out what went wrong in the scrums on the Stormers ball? You guys won quite a few penalties and a turnover, and then on your ball in the scrum, they win the ball. I don't know what happened there.
Well, I always joke with Edsy that I don't know anything about the set piece. I just want the ball out, let the boys play. But the reality is that Jermaine Ainsley, our tight head, probably in the first 5 minutes he got a bump. And maybe that's on me. He was struggling at half, and then Tetra at half time was also struggling. He had to come off at half time, not replaced, but injured at half time. So those two guys were both pretty sore through things that had happened in that half, and that's probably that's probably for the learning for me is maybe I should have made that call slightly earlier, because they clearly were battling in the first half. Obviously, once we made the changes in the second half, it was a lot better. And the other thing for me, the big learning is that I'm probably not being tough enough on the discipline in training, and that's perpetuated itself now in the game. So those are the things that I have to get better at in the next couple of days.
Are you still confident of a playoff place, and could you in fact finish top of the Aussie Conference, you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, if we could do that, it'd be a hell of an achievement for our club. We won one game last year, and I think there's, we started really well. Unfortunately, we've got a couple of senior players: Will Guinea, Dane Petty, Jordan Alisi, Ben Daly, Laurie Weeks. Those are all wallabies that aren't here at the moment, and the benefit of those, we've exposed a couple of the younger guys in our group to touring to South Africa for the first time, and all those sort of things. And I think over the next 18 months, that's gonna be a benefit to us. Although it's probably exposed us a bit now and it hurts now, but I think in the long run it'll be good for us.
There's more 2-year project in there.
Oh, I don't think it's unreasonable for anybody to say you're gonna go from first to last in 12 months in 1 year, But we're disappointed with this performance here, because I felt that had we had more ball and had we not given them 60 metres easily up the field too many times, that we would have been much more competitive in the game. Because when we had the ball, we were causing them some problems, and that's without some of those senior attacking players, like Willie and Dane and those guys. So. But we have a lot to learn, to be a playoff, a team that can be competitive in the playoffs. We've got a lot to learn. But
and just the tour from a player's point of view, how much have you sort of taken out of it, or what have you gained from it?
Yeah, I think from this, from the tour in general, I think it's really brought the boys a lot closer. In terms of experiencing 2 losses, but in terms of spending time together, more time than usual. I think the boys have really got a lot from it. But it's not easy to win in Super Rugby, and especially in Super Rugby. And there's a reason why the Rebels haven't done it before. We set a goal to make history, and we lost both games, and it's definitely a tough pill to swallow at the moment, especially this one. Milestones, Sammy's other guys, 50th game, and Summer's debut. I think when you lose on a milestone, it's always a tough pill to swallow for your teammates.
And just in terms of the game, I mean, you hung in there in the first half, and it was 17-6, and then they scored almost straight after half. Was that the killer blow? You never really got back to within the score?
Yeah, I think Dave touched on it. The discipline in our first half, giving 8 penalties away, not having possession in the first half, that was really tough to recover from. I think we put ourselves in a tough position. From the first half, we spoke about this game really wanting to start fast, and we just weren't able to get out the gates.
Dave, if you look at the 2 games you had against the home teams here in SA, can you maybe assist in pointing out why the teams in South Africa perform, apart now from it is home games, and why they perform so good here, but in struggle when they go on tour? If you take up the Bulls and Stormers couldn't accomplish on overseas.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'd be unfair to me to comment on them. I mean, other than to say, I've watched a lot of games here at Newlands, and it's a hell of a, they grow an extra leg when they're here. They play in front of their passionate fans, and we knew that. We expected that. I think again, probably my reflections on the game is someone once said to me, if you've got if a player's making a certain error and you're still talking about that error in 3 months' time, that's on you as the coach. That's not the player's fault. That's the coach's fault. I mean, that's my job. And I think that's how I'm feeling a little bit about our discipline thing. Like I've tried a couple of different ways to sort of sell the message to the team about how silly it's been, and it hasn't resonated. But that's my job. So I've let the team down in that, and I've got to have a think about how we do that better. We will do it better. I mean, we'll find a way. And I think one of the things is that when we asked I think last week when we asked the guys to put their hands up who hadn't been to South Africa before, more than half the group hadn't. So I think there's an impression that we've got this very experienced team, but we actually don't. Even Anaru Rangi, who's a slightly older, he's only playing really his first season of Super Rugby. Matty Phillips, only really into his second season. Billy Meeks into his second season. There's a lot of guys there. Mikey Ruru into his second. There's a lot of guys there who started, who unfortunately, to get a bit of the experience that we need, probably need to get bumped on their bum a little bit, including the coaches. And ultimately it's a healthy thing, but it's a hard thing to swallow at the time.
And in terms of week 1 and week 2 into the tour, which one would you say was the most toughest to
I'm hell of a proud of the boys for the way that they prepared this week. Sometimes you come to Cape Town and there's a lot of booby traps here in Cape Town. They want to do all sorts of things that are not rugby and not performance related. And I've never been on a tour where the boys have been as dedicated to wanting to go well here, including cancelling a team dinner that the players came up with the idea of cancelling a team dinner that had been scheduled for the guys to go out, and they wanted to have that in the hotel because they thought they were, that's the sort of thing that they've driven. But again, a lot of the stuff that we did worked, and I thought we were in the right frame of mind for the game. But just the discipline and our set piece let us down and made it very hard to win from there.
You mentioned discipline, but the defence, you missed a lot of tackles. Is that more down to the Stormers' attack or mistakes?
Yeah, and same again there, John. Like if you're giving the Stormers as much, any team in Super Rugby, as much team as they ball as they had, you're going to struggle. Statistically, the Stormers have the most possession in Super Rugby, and they make the second most line breaks going into the game. So they're a team with very good individuals. If you give them the ball, they're going to hurt you with that eventually. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it's a defences issue per se. I think we've got a discipline problem, and I think our set piece, which has been strong at times this season, really let us down today.
So would you be getting guys back from injury if you get back home?
Yeah, so Will Genia will play next week against the Crusaders, which will be handy. Although I think Mikey Rue's done a great job there at 9 for us. And there's a chance that both Dane and Ross Hallett-Petty might be able to play as well, which would be good if they could come back.
Okay, no new injuries out of this game?
Touchwood, I don't think so at the moment. Tetra's battling a little bit with a shoulder injury, but that he's had that before and it tends to settle pretty quick, so he should be all right to go.
And can I ask about this New Zealand run that's now really becoming a big sort of media story? 35, 34 games, Aussie teams are able to beat Kiwi sides. How much does that play into the psyche of the Australian rugby player, Australian rugby generally?
For us, mate, to be honest, we haven't talked about it at all. I think there's an opportunity for us to to go back to Melbourne and play in front of our home fans, and I think that's what we're excited about, and responding to a performance like that. And the pleasing thing is that they are things that we can fix with a short turnaround. Ill discipline, set piece, skill errors. More to do with the mental application side of things, rather than a whole team thing.
Yeah, I think one of the things for us has just been right from the start when you asked about the playoffs. Like our ambition this year is to make the people of Melbourne proud. You know, we talk about that a lot, and we're in a very, very competitive sports market there with a lot of big AFL teams. We've got 2 big soccer teams. We share a field with the Melbourne Storm, who are the most successful rugby league team in Australia. We feel like we're moving in the right direction there. So for the Crusaders game, it's the first time ever, as I understand it, that the Rebels have sold out our suites at the stadium. You know, so it's not going to happen in 1 minute. But we feel like some of the way that we've tried to play, I think, has resonated with some people. And it's early days, but we feel like we're having some wins there, and that's really what we got to stay focused on. You know?
You're thinking, Dave, on the New Zealand voodoo, or whatever word one wants to use.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said this to someone the other day. Like, I think there's a generation of New Zealand players that are just exceptional there at the moment. You know, and it's not going to last forever. But some of the media coverage around our part of town has probably not celebrated enough just how good some of those players are. You know, and you know, if you look at the Hurricanes, when they didn't play Bowden Barrett or whatever, they didn't go so good. You know what I mean? So there's just some exceptional players there that I think rugby should take a little bit more time to celebrate and to I guess to enjoy, because they're not going to be there forever, and our job is to try to knock those guys off. You know, so we're working very hard to try to do that. And we're obviously looking forward to playing the Crusaders this weekend, who have more of those sort of players, you know.
Dave, just with the axing off the force, you've spoken about other teams as well in your area competing with rugby and so on. You were kept as one of the Australian franchises, and do you feel that that's adding extra pressure on the guys to perform on the day?
Oh no, I wouldn't say that. I feel like we're a competitive group of people, and we're ambitious, you know. And we put the pressure on ourselves, and guys are upset in that change room, which is good. You know, like I've been in change rooms. I'm sad to say it, but where sometimes the result washes over the change room a little bit too easily, you know. And that's certainly not the case in our change room, which is how you know, and probably why I actually feel relatively positive that I know we're on the right track. Like there's some really key things we've got to fix, and they're fixable, and they're all fixable. And as I said to the boys, nothing in sport is luck. Sport is about process and hard work, and then you get the outcomes. Luck is not a plan. You know, I think that's what we've got to try to get right over the next couple of days.